Yeah, if you didn't know by now, if you get food stamps and you get a job and you do not report it, do not be shocked if you end up in this situation right here. This lady right here ended up owing the government $3,000 in food stamps because she got a job and did not let the food stamp office know, so they continued to give her money. Check out this story and make sure that if you got a job that you report it, because I would hate to see this happen to more people. But check this out.
Story time on how I ended up having to pay back the government $3,000 in food stamps. So back in October 2021, I was fired from Starbucks, right? I got to give y'all that story too. And for the month of October and November, I was flying through my savings. So in December, one of my friends suggested, she was like, why don't you apply for food stamps? So I was real skeptical because I've never been on public assistance before. And from what I've heard, like, oh, they need all your information, whatever. But then I was like, I was looking for a job actively and nobody was calling me back. And I'm like, damn, this is about to be the second month, no income coming or whatever. Let me apply for food stamps. So I ended up doing it. And the good thing about it is the process that I went through, I just had to go through like the HRA app. And I ended up just sending them a picture of my unemployment letter because I was also denied for unemployment because of Starbucks. And once I sent that to HRA, the denial of unemployment, they approved me for food stamps. No problem. So I got my first payment in January, and they sent the letter saying that I need to recertify every year. And with every year, I have to recertify with my new income or whatever the case may be. So I'm like, all right, cool. Again, I wasn't familiar. This was my first time. I didn't know. So I ended up starting to get the food stamps in January. And then I got a job at the end of February, which is the job that I have now. So like I said, I didn't know that I was supposed to update them that I got a job and you know what I mean? So they could alter how much they're giving me. All I knew is that they said every year I have to recertify. So I just said, next year I'm just not going to recertify because I already know that I have a job. So the full year went by. And like I said, I already knew I was not going to recertify. But then they sent me a letter saying, hey, you don't have to recertify. We're going to continue paying you for the next 6 months. So I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't, like I said, again, I wasn't familiar with the process or whatever the case may be. I was just like, okay, no problem. So I continued taking the payments. So now around April 2023, they sent me a letter officially telling me like that I need to recertify or whatever. And I declined to recertify again because I already had a job and I already knew that I wasn't going to qualify. Cool, no problem. So then they sent me a letter in June telling me that because I didn't certify, they were cutting me off, granted, which I already knew. Y'all, tell me why in November 2023, they sent me a letter saying that they overpaid me $3,000 in food stamps and I have to start paying them back as soon as possible. I was like, what? So, of course, now I got this letter and I'm so confused because I'm like, how the hell do I owe y'all $3,000 if y'all kept giving me the money? I never recertified. Y'all kept giving me the money. So now I'm pissed. So now I go to like the HRA like office in my area. They're like, oh no, you can't, you're not supposed to come here. You're supposed to go down to Pearl Street on by Brooklyn Bridge. So I went down to Pearl Street at Brooklyn Bridge, and apparently that wasn't like an office for you to talk to someone. That was just like a office building. So I went down to Pearl Street because again, I wasn't familiar with the process. They did send me a paper explaining to me that I had to start making payment plans and where I could make, it wasn't, for me, the paper wasn't clear. And I wanted to know why I had to pay back, So I went down there to Pearl Street and some ladies came down to speak to me, very nasty, very rude. And I was just like, what is going on? So when they came down, immediately one of the ladies was like, this is not a walk-in center. You're supposed to call on the phone. So I was like, okay, first of all, good morning. And I was like, second of all, I've been trying to call you guys all week. And every time I've been on the phone on hold for 3 or more plus hours. So if you guys don't want to use this as a walk-in center, then try having somebody pick up the phone because people have things to do. So then she was just like, how can I help you? So I explained the situation to her. And she was like, okay. She went back upstairs. She came back down like 10 minutes later with paperwork, again, with a nasty ass attitude. And she's underlined it. She's like, is this your name? She circled my name. I said, yes. And then she flipped it over and circled my income for the previous year. And she was like, this is the income that you had last year? And I said, yes. She was like, you weren't supposed to qualify. You made way too much money. I don't even understand how you think that you qualified for food stamps. And I was like, first of all, I didn't do anything to you. So I don't know what the issue is, but please stop talking to me like that. And I was like, second of all, this was my first time using government assistance, so I didn't know that I was supposed to let you guys know that I started working, because the initial paperwork said that you recertify every year. So I just figured, okay, if I get it for this year, next year I won't recertify. And then on top of that, I brought the letter, and then I'm like, and then you guys sent me this letter saying that I did not have to recertify. You're going to continue to pay me. So how was I supposed to know? And she was like, oh, well, yes, the minute you started working, you were supposed to record that. And I'm like, okay, well, now here we are. I'm like, so what happens now? She's like, well, you can start a payment plan of the payment plan said $19 a month to pay off my $3,000 debt. What? She was like, yeah, so just start sending your $19. Attitude's still nasty, right? The attitude was still nasty. So then I'm like, I'm not paying $19 for however long to pay off this debt. I'm like, I'm ready to pay you guys in full right now. Like, can I swipe my debit card? And she's like, that's when her whole attitude changed. She's like, you have $3,000? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, to pay in full right now? I'm like, yes, I'm coming to pay you guys. Like, how do we do this? So now she's looking there, and like I said, she was with another lady. So now they're both looking at me. And in my mind, I realized, I'm like, oh, so they expected me to be like begging to not, like, I don't know what they expected. Let me take that back. I don't know what they expected, but they definitely judged me 100%. Because the minute I said I could pay back that $3,000 right now, their attitudes completely changed. And she was like, I don't know who has $3,000 just laying around to pay back. And I was like, I do. Where do I pay you? Because now she was pissing me off. And she was like, oh, well, we can't take payments here. You have to write a check. And I was like, okay, no problem. You guys will get the check tomorrow. And then she was like, okay, is that all? And I was like, yes. And then I said to her, and I was like, you guys should do way better with your process. 100%. Because especially the second letter that you sent me, if you sent me a letter saying that I don't need to recertify, that you're going to continue to pay me, I shouldn't be liable for that, because you guys decided that you were going to continue to pay me. But it is what it is. And then I went home that same day and I sent the check and I cleared the debt or whatever. But girl, y'all, I was so upset, because I'm just like, now I gotta pay. So basically I paid for everything that they gave me, which for all of that, I should have just went through my savings and just do what I was doing, and I probably wouldn't have went through $3,000. But it is what it is. That situation was so crazy. But to anybody that has food stamps or using food stamps and you start working, please use me as an example. Tell them everything, record everything. Like I said, I was a first time user of food stamps. I did not know the process. I just thought I was good and, whatever. But you live and you learn. I will never do it again. I don't care if I have no money. I will go sing on the train for money before I take money from this damn government and end up having to pay it back. And then on top of that, they want to tell you for a $3,000 debt, pay $19 a month. When I got done, y'all ain't gonna see I gonna be paying till what you call it name?
Okay, them Jamaican roots coming
That
up.
shit pissed me off. Oh, and I completely forgot that I had to add this part, because I was confused as to why I had to pay them $3,000 in cash when they gave me food stamps. And what they explained to me was that the way that it is dispersed amongst the EBT system is that cash comes in from the government and then they split it on the card to cash or food stamps. But it is actual cash that you're using to buy the food. It's not like, any type of other currency. So although you could only buy food with the food stamps, it was still actual cash money. So that's why I had to pay back cash. And that was also another thing that was pissing me off, because I'm like, y'all gave me food stamps and I couldn't use these food stamps to buy anything else but food. But now y'all want to take my hard-earned cash dollars everything that I owe y'all because of these damn food stamps. I wanted to add that because I know that people will probably be like, how the hell you have to pay back cash, your cash dollars, when they gave you food stamps? Y'all, the whole situation was just so annoying. Like I said,
Look,
I will never do it again.
listen, she better than me though, because that attitude alone from that lady at that office would have had me turn around. And she, listen, $3,000, they would have got $19 a month out of me, if anything, if anything. like I said, $3,000 out of my account after you messed up, nah, I'm going ghost. What y'all think though? In the comment section, let me know. Would y'all have paid back this $3,000? I would have gave them back $19 a month, if anything. But in reality, I probably would have just skedaddled. Like, you're going to have to come get me $3,000 food stamps, please.